87. Factor the expression. Step 1. Always look for the greatest common factor, the GCF. So just by inspection, I can tell negative 3x is the GCF. So when I pull out negative 3x, I'm going to have 5x plus 7 left. I can't factor 5x plus 7. That's already a linear factor. So the answer is C. Okay, moving on. 88. X squared minus 6x plus 8. Okay, this one we can set up our x factor. Our a times c value is 8. Our b value is negative 6. Two numbers that have a product of 8 and a sum of negative 6. That'd be negative 4 and negative 2. So since my a value is 1, it's just x minus 4 times x minus 2. And again, remember the order doesn't matter. So the answer is B. 89. 5x squared minus 22x minus 15. Okay, no GCF, so we can x factor this. Our a times c value, so that's our a, our b, and our c. So negative 15 times 5 is negative 75. Our b value is negative 22. So I need a positive and negative number, negative number being bigger, to have a product of 75 and a sum, or sorry, negative 75 and a sum of negative 22. So 75. Okay, let's think about this. Start with, you can start with products of 5 or multiples of 5. So we go negative 25 times a positive 3. Well, that gets us our answers. So our factors are negative 25 and positive 3. Our a value, however, is not 1. So we have to rewrite this 5x squared. And instead of negative 22x, we're going to put the two factors in. So minus 25x plus 3x. Again, that's just replacing the negative 22. Minus 15. Okay, we're going to group terms. See what we can factor out. Out of the left side, it looks like I can factor out a 5x. And when I do, it looks like I'm left with x minus 5. On the right side, it looks like I can factor out a 3. And that's going to be x minus 5. Since the parentheses groupings are the same, I can rewrite this as 5x plus 3 times x minus 5. The answer would be C. All right, number 90. 9x squared minus 16. Okay, we could do the long way with the x factor, or we could realize this is a difference of squared. I could rewrite this as 3x squared minus 4 squared. And if you remember, if I get a squared minus b squared, I can factor this as a plus b times a minus b. So this is be 3x plus 4 times 3x minus 4. The answer would be B. Okay, 91. Solve the equation by finding square roots. Okay, step 1, get the x by itself. So let's divide each side by 108. So x squared is going to equal 147 divided by 108. Okay, can we reduce that? What do you think? Well, can we factor out an odd number maybe? Let's factor out a 3 out of the top bottom. So 147, if we factored out a 3, well, we could rewrite this as 3 times 49. In the bottom, if we factor out 3, we could say this is 3 times 36. So we could cancel the 3's, so we could rewrite as x squared equals 49 over 36. We're going to square root each side. So x is going to equal the plus or minus the square root of 49 over the square root of 36, which is going to be plus or minus 7 over 6. So my answer is going to be B. 92. The function y equals negative 16t squared plus 486 models the height y of the feet of a stone t seconds after it is dropped. How long will it take the stone to hit the ground? So at the ground, y is 0. The height is 0. So we're going to say 0 equals negative 16t squared plus 486. We're just going to solve for t. We're going to add 16t squared each side, so I get 16t squared equals 486. Divide each side by 16. Okay. So we're going to get 486 divided by 16. You get 30.375. And again, since we're trying to find a real answer, we can go ahead and use the numbers. So t equals is going to be the square root of 30.375. So we just square root that answer. T equals 5.51. Okay, answer would be D. 93. Simplify the square root of negative 175 using I. Well, the square root of negative 175 we can rewrite as I times the square root of 175. We can go ahead and use our factor tree. We can go 25, and that's going to go into that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. Okay, and if you need to, you can go ahead and factor down 25 to 5 and 5, so you can see it's going to pull out. So we can rewrite this as 5i square root of 7. Answer is B. 94. Negative 6 minus the negative square root of 48. So we're going to worry about that later. So we're going to leave negative 6 minus. Now let's work the square root of negative 48 over here. Okay. First thing is we can rewrite this as I square root of 48. Now let's go ahead and factor down 48. I can say that's going to be 16 times 3. And I can factor 16 to 4 times 4. Since I have a pair, I can rewrite this as 4i square root of 3. So now I can replace that whole function, that whole radical, with 4i square root of 3. So our answer is B. 95. Simplify the expression. So we're just going to FOIL this. First term, 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. 2 times 5i is positive 10i. 5i times negative 1 is negative 5i. 5i times 5i is 25i squared, which we can rewrite as negative 2. We can combine like terms, plus 5i. Remember, I squared becomes negative 1, so minus 25. So we can combine like terms again and get negative 27 plus 5i. So the answer must be A. Okay, 96. Find the missing term to complete the square. My b value is 2. My b over 2 value is 1. So my b over 2 value squared is 1 squared, which is 1. So to complete the square, we must add 1. The answer is B. 97. Solve each quadratic by completing the square. So let's rewrite this with just the variables on one side of the equation. So let's subtract 35 to each side. Okay, my b value is 10. So my b over 2 value is 5. My b over 2 value squared would be 5 squared, which would be 25. So that's what we got to add to each side of the equation, okay, to complete the square. Now that's a completed square. I can rewrite that as x plus my b over 2 value squared equals whatever that is, negative 35 plus 25. So that's going to be negative 10. Square root each side, so x plus 5 equals plus or minus the square root of negative 10. Now get x by itself, so we subtract 5 to each side. So x equals negative 5 plus or minus the square root of negative 10. Well, to get rid of the negative sign, we put an I on the outside. So it's going to be x equals 5, negative 5, plus or minus I square root of 10. So negative 5 plus or minus I square root of 10. Looks like the answer would be D. Okay, 98. rewrite the equation in vertex form. All right. We're going to complete the square. So I'm going to rewrite this as x squared plus 10x, and then I'm going to put over here plus 16. All right. My b value is 10. My b over 2 value is 5. And b over 2 squared is 25. So I'm going to add 25. But if I add 25, I also got to subtract 25. Now I can group wherever I want. I'm going to group that because that's a perfect square trinomial now. So that's going to be x plus my b value squared. And 16 minus 25 is minus 9. So it should be x plus 5 squared minus 9. Answer should be D. 99. Use the quadratic to solve. Well, my quadratic's negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So this is going to be negative 9 plus or minus the square root of 81 minus 4ac, which when you do the math is going to be plus 40 all over 2a, which is 2 times 5 is 10. So it's going to be negative 9 plus or minus the square root of 121 over 10. Well, square root of 121 is 11. So it's going to be negative 9 plus or minus 11 over 10. So let's do negatives first. Negative 9 minus 11 is negative 20 divided by 10. It's negative 2. Negative 9 plus 11 is 2 divided by 10 is 2/10, which would be 1/5. So 1/5 and negative 2 is what we're looking for. Answer is B. Last one. Plug it into quadratic. Negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So that's going to be negative negative 1. So 1 plus or minus the square root of 1 minus 4ac. So 4 times 4, 16 times 3 is 48 over 2a, which would be 8. So here we go. So I can rewrite this as 1/8 plus or minus the square root of negative 47 over 8, which is 1/8 plus or minus I square root of 47 over 8. And so it looks like C then. All right, that concludes it. Good luck.